This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that.
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and a big warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Inquiry Guineas Weekend Podcast. Yes, all into one this week instead of the normal Friday show where we just look at Saturday's cards, etc. We thought we'd do one big preview for the whole 3 days, plus television action, best bets round to come. Joining me this evening are the three Musketeers, Jonas Lang, Nick Davis and Jack Veach. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening all.
Hi everyone.
It's trademark that. It makes me laugh every time. I don't know why. So, of course, excited for the flat season because, of course, this is when it starts to happen. We get to see real horses, proper ones, real fast ones, and, of course, City of Troy. You can't get excited about him. And the Guineas itself, which I feel is going to be one of the best Guineas we've seen in a good while. And I think the 3-year-old colts this year, unlike in recent times where they've left a lot to be desired, I think the 3-year-old division this year is going to be strong, really strong. So we'll come on to that later. So without further ado, first round, as always, is best bets over the 3 days. Obviously, it doesn't have to be at Newmarket, as we do on the Friday show, but hopefully we've got some there at HQ for you to bet on the television terrestrial action. I'm sure you love your ITV racing. Right, 1 point win round.
The big event
Nick
of the
Davis.
week, that's the 240 at Thirsk on Saturday, the Thirsk Hunt Cup. Yes, get in there.
Yes.
Yep. And I'm
Hunt
going for our old mate Charlie Hill's Racing Bakes Rider.
Fuck.
John's a fan. This one's been gelded in the winter. And if you have a look back at its runs, some you'll see why it pulled like anything, especially at Goodwood. Have a look at a video of that. First run in this season, he had Spencer on in the Newbury Spring Cup. Now, if you watch the ride, he comes up, gives it a tug back, goes one side, goes to the other side, and got it to finish off its race. Like I've done at the World New, and he's got another £3 off that. He's well drawn in 10. I think this is a harder race as the Spring Cup. Northern Express is a very, very consistent thing. Master Richard will probably be one of the pace setters. I think a lot of the paces out wide, and I think he'll be well. And I think he's about 16-1, 1 point win. No, false.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
14s, Nick. 16s
Right.
with Denise. The 2 rulebook policy, of course, brings you out at 14s with Paddy Power Betfair Sky Bet. So that could do it a bit of back class, I suppose. But, of course, John, why did you moan at that?
Because if I had a bet in the 240 at Thirsk, it would be Racing Bakes Rider.
Really? Ooh,
Really?
Interesting.
I thought the run at Newbury last time was tremendously eye-catching. It was dropped out, which wasn't an advantage. It was switched to the far side, then the near side, then switched to the middle. And he did well to make any ground up, never mind as much as he did. He was proper Spencered that day. He's come down in the weights from last year.
Yeah.
I think he's got an outstanding chance.
Interesting. Well, I do like that. We might do that under any other business. Just look at the Thirsk Hunt Cup at the end of the show. Thanks for that, Nick, and a good start with a good case made. Jack Veach?
All three of mine are at HQ, so to kick things off, I'm at the 4:45 tomorrow. And I'm with the Sprint King and Queen trained L'Ennemi here. Interesting horse this. It was recently purchased by the mob who own Shaquille, obviously respending some of their winnings from last year. Not a cheap purchase either at 120,000. Valmont often don't let go of good ones, but they're a shrewd outfit, and I think that's they'll take a decent price about one. And I think off a mark of 81, this one's interesting. I liked his 3 runs last year. This is a handicap debut for him, most notably his third at Haydock in September when finishing behind Legend of Time and Waffe. Waffe's come out with a bit of a disappointing run, if I'm honest, on Monday, so that's not done the form huge justice. But the winner, Legend of Time, has gone and won a couple of races out in Maidan, is now rated in the hundreds and he was only a couple of lengths behind him that day. So I think off a mark of 81, he's interesting. He always shaped like he looks like he'll make up into a nice 3-year-old from a physical perspective. He's a Sayuni out of a mare who won the Maurice de Geest at 3, and multiple sort of black type stakes placed in winners in the family as well. So I think it's an interesting pickup for the for the Camacho team, and they're a good outfit who I have a lot of respect for. So I think off a mark of 81, I think there's certainly scope in this horse. He'll want top of the ground. We should get that tomorrow. He's probably a type that will go 10 furlongs in time, but we've got Holly Doyle in the saddle here, so there's only one way she goes, which is forward, and that's probably where you want to be tomorrow. It's an open race. I certainly respect the Fav. I know it's a horse that John likes a lot, Rocking Tree, probably the right Fav. Second Fav, Silent Age, not a fan of that thing at all. I've had bigger shits than that. It's fucking tiny. So I think there's a couple you can take on in here, and I think we're looking at 16s, which is well, certainly a few points bigger than I thought we'd open at here. So very much happy with that, and a 1 point on L'Ennemi for me.
Good start, 14-1 and 16-1 so far on the Not Totally Shit podcast. John, didn't we once say that Maurice de Geest was like one of these posh London barbers?
Yeah.
Maurice de Geest. It sounds like that, doesn't it?
80 quid for a short back and side sort of thing.
Yeah.
Almost certainly has a wax tash, a comb over, and probably if teenage boys going for a haircut, he probably touches them up.
Victor Kayam type. Right, here we go. So a good start in terms of prices. I'll try and carry that on. And indeed I do. A bullseye, this one, 50-1 for this horse that I fancy. It goes in the Suffolk Stakes at Newmarket on Saturday. And I was quite shocked to see it out on a limb at that sort of price. The Huey Morrison train Stay Well. I think they've got this horse wrong all its career. I think since it won the maiden that Huey likes to send his good ones in back in 21 when it won by 8 lengths, he loves winning that race. I think they just got carried away with it, thinking, it's a 1.5 mile horse. They stepped it up to listed company next time. It flattened out. It's always been a bit Roy Keane. But there was a lot of promise in the Cambridgeshire where he came up the centre in the smallest group and he got no cover, and he settled a lot better because obviously you're down in trip. He could just travel like a travelly thing. And he was better than the margin beaten at the line, I feel. Off 92 now, I think straight track handicapping over 1 mile and 9 furlongs, things like that, this is his barrow. I can't believe he's 50s because you're reopposing horses, obviously in the Cambridgeshire, like Dutch Decoy. There wasn't that much between them to say that this horse should be 50-1. It's quite an insult in price, I think, to say that Dutch Decoy should be, I don't know, 5 or 6 times shorter in the betting than Stay Well. So that's where I'm at, because I think there's more pace as well this side, I'll be honest. And I think if you can get a nice lead this time and a bit of cover and just get played at the right time, I think Stay Well is going to run a huge race. At a bullseye. That's with Betfair and Paddy Power. John?
255 Newmarket, Saturday, the Palace House Stakes. Beautiful Diamond. I think this one might just have the run of this. Can improve past these exposed older ones that, to be perfectly honest, we're all sick of the fucking Saito, aren't we?
Just to let listeners know that John commented the other day, and it was before the Cigaro, and he said something that made me howl like, they just set off. I'm sick of the sight of these fuckers. You see him every... Yeah.
I am. We need some ledger horses staying in train and kicking them cunts out the way, don't we, really?
You're fed up of Coltrane and Trushan now.
Oh, fucking hell.
Trushan.
Belief.
Anyway, sorry, John, get back to your explanation.
I thought this had the basis for making up into a good 5 furlong horse this year anyway. And then I was particularly encouraged by Carl Burke's comments in Stable Tour that we were debating whether they were worth a dry
You love
shake
stable
or
tours,
not.
John, don't you?
Yeah, I do. He said, I'm delighted with her. She's wintered particularly well and is showing a lot of speed at home. She strengthened and got quicker. Well, I thought she was quick enough anyway. It's tough for 3-year-old sprinters, but she'll probably start in a listed mares race at Bath. Then she'll have to try 6 furlongs again unless we wait for the Temple. In the spirit of Stable Tours being completely fucking misleading, thinking, this sounds like it fits the bill. Let's have a point win.
Point win on Beautiful Diamond. Do you want the 3-1 generally available, or do you want like Betfair SP?
I think I can sit that out and wait for the SP.
Betfair SP for John on Carl Burke's Beautiful Diamond. By the way, there is little pace in that.
Yeah.
To say it's like a Group 3 5 furlong race, normally you get the odd speed. But I suppose Mia Nichols might bounce that cannonball out and maybe go a good pace anyway, probably. But I don't know whether that can repeat. It seemed to make 3 lengths out at Traps last time, didn't it, when it won T-Spirit, I think.
I think he's up early there, Trap.
Yeah, one of Elon Musk.
That's one of them where they could have declared a non-runner.
What happens then? Yeah, I don't know. They don't know what they're doing on that. Anyway, we'll carry on with the 2-point round. Thank you all for round 1. I'll kick us off in round 2. I'm going to Newmarket again on Saturday, a recurring theme because all my 3 bets are at Newmarket on Saturday. There are no early prices for this, so I will probably try and take a fair early price. John knows I'm really fair. This is the Cliff Horse and it's one last chance. Has to be on Nick's theme of Charlie Hills. Let him have a good weekend for once.
You'd go
Charles
for,
Hills
go for
trained Bod Organ. Yeah. Jimmy Quinn, I'll win on it next time. Sadly, doesn't get the ride, but Will Buick does. This is a drop in grade, really. It's a drop in class. If he can't do it on Saturday off 80,
Slight jockey upgrade as well.
Oh, that's what I said. You're talking plenty of upgrade there. I mean, the third at Haydock in that London Mile Series qualifier had a feet a lane behind him, Isla Jura, close third to Cathab, big grip in that race. You just hope he finally puts it together after being gelded and just does it down in grade. If he doesn't win that, then that is it. He will never, ever be another bet for me again. So, Bedorgan, 2 points win. John, I'll swing it back round to you.
Bloody hell, I hope he wins. I wouldn't like to think you were giving him the cold shoulder. Newmarket tomorrow. I'm taking our Jack on in the 4:45 with Yokohama.
Like you say, Yoko Ono then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Unbelievable, isn't it? A maniac bursts out and randomly pumps 6 bullets into John Lennon and not one of them hit
Some big inheritance there, John. Anyway.
This one was pitched in a listed class at Easter after winning the maid. Didn't quite quit badly, I thought. In fact, he could have probably finished a bit closer, barring a few in-running issues. I think 89 probably underestimates him. Brandon Wilkie taking 5 off is a massive bonus. Get your Brandon Wilkie jokes out the way now, boys.
David Wilkie.
Yeah. And it's Wilkie! He's a half brother to questioning. I was rated 100 plus with John Ferguson. There's nothing in the pedigree to suggest you won't like grass. I think this could be a cut above these. 2 points win.
Yeah, interesting. Nice price. 11-1 generally available, Johnny. Are you up for that?
Yeah, that's lovely.
Good start to the round 2. Some nice prices again. Jake Reach.
I'm off to Sunday for mine, also at HQ, the 225 Dahlia Stakes. So we're obviously playing anti-post as things stand, but I'm pretty confident this one will be a runner. And I'm very much with Boys in Blue. Charlie Appleby trained Silver Lady here. I think this is just wrong in terms of the way this has been priced up at present. I can't have Running Lion as favourite for me. She's a fizzy type. She notably ran loose at the Oaks to begin with, and form tailed off. To be honest with you, later on in her 3-year-old year, she's not. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty unconvinced about these Roaring Lions, to be honest. I know he's only had the one crop and he only ever will, but for me, there's not much cop there. So I'm not having that as the short price favourite. You've then got quite a few here on a retrieval mission who were sort of semi-promising 3-year-olds. Carnarvon, Astral Bow, who's a slot monster. Heartache Tonight, my 5 to follow shout from last year that was placed terribly by Sergeant Wilson. That's not going to do anything here. So for me, Silver Lady, who equally does have her quirks, she really over-raced as a 3-year-old, and while showing a lot of promise, did far too much wrong. But I really liked the reappearance at Meydan. Obviously, Meydan form is always subjective. There's substances that might not be declared on race cards that we're not aware of. But for me, I thought she shaped much better. She settled much better into her race. She beat a much more fancied stablemate English Rose on that occasion, and I thought she won that pretty well and settled much nicer, which was promising for me to see. And I think this is a horse going the right way. I think the market might be as it is because she's got to shoulder a £3 penalty, and that puts punters off. But when you're giving £3 away to fuck all, it doesn't really bother me. And I think this is the horse in the race that's going the right way. Could be sort of Group 2, maybe even Group 1 class later on in the year. I actually had this earmarked for her a while ago. I think I mentioned it on my my Maidan column earlier in the year. And I'm happy they've turned up here, and I'm surprised she's not favourite. So at the current Wolves Ices, which I think we're looking at sort of 4-1, very much happy to row in with a 2-point win.
4-1 generally available. Appleby team weren't in massively great form at Maidan either. Quite a few setbacks around that period. So Silver Lady managed to get the job done out there and comes in here probably underrated, like Jack
Right,
says.
I'm going the
Nick
Suffolk
finished the
Handicap.
round.
I agree with you that there's going to be a little bit of pace on, and I very much see your pace for that 50 to 1 shot. However, I'm going for the Alan King train west. I think that this drop back in that they'll ride him forward. I couldn't understand him being held up quite a few times last year. The times he did go forward were when he walloped middle four lengths at Sandown. Him and Caesar's Maximus, whoever it was, drew well clear at York. So I couldn't understand some of the hold-up tactics. Ryan gets back on after the last blowout of his season over 1 mile 4. And I can very well see him being right up there in the firing line. And I'm going to go 2 points win.
This is a horse that was high on Quentin Franks' list last year in terms of potential. Westerton's beat Middle Earth 4.5 wickets at Sandown. Obviously, Ryan pinched the race there, but by the same token, this horse has always had a lot of potential. And I see this, yes, I know where you're coming from with this. That's not a bad choice at all. 16-1 for you, Nick. Hills, Paddies, and Betfair. Some
I
lovely
think you might
prices,
want to put
folks,
your
so far
killie
in the
bags
2
in a
rounds.
forecast just in case those three dominate from up the front.
Yeah, could well do. We're hoping to get a big price winner of the Suffolk. I mean, obviously, you got to respect horses like Torito, but 4-1, 7-2, top of the market. It's a very boring choice for anyone playing in the race. But I think we're on some nice choices here. Hopefully, we'll be right. That finishes the round. Coming on to the 3-point round. This is the lucky 15 round, maybe. Maybe we've got some big uns. Who knows? We don't confer selections beforehand, so will we get a klaxon, maybe? Don't know. Who should we go to first? Jack Beach.
Well, I'm off to the showpiece again on Sunday. I thought I'd try my best to tip. There's no point tipping in the 2000, so I shall tip in the 1000. And I am very strong on the, again, Royal Blue Godolphin Train dance sequence here. For me, I think I noted it on Patreon when she ran in the Nell Gwyn. I didn't get the overreaction from the bookies. I can find these trials from a betting perspective, they can be really lucrative in terms of punting because one way, obviously, if anything wins half decently, they get chopped 5 points too many. But if they don't win, they get put out. And this was put out to sort of sevens by a couple of bookmakers. And I found that ridiculous. For me, she's ran really well there. 7 furlongs. She's very much ready for the mile. She came out of the dip lovely. If you put an extra furlong on that race, she'd have beat Pretty Crystal 3-4 lengths, no bother whatsoever. And look, she's got to face better opposition on Sunday. But I thought that was a perfectly acceptable trial. I like the look of her as a physical. I think she's done well over the winter. I was strong on that so sharp form from last year, and the second Skellet, who I liked quite a lot for this race, hasn't made it. But yeah, for me, look, the top of the market is where this race is going to be, and for me, Fallen Angel, Ylang Ylang, you have to respect both of them. But I think they're not milers in my opinion. I think the pair of them are 10, possibly 12 furlong horses, and will be better seen at Epsom and later on in the season. Particularly Ylang Ylang, I just can't see that horse as a miler. I know she won the Fillies Mile, but I thought that race kind of played out quite nicely for her. See the Fire, who's also in this, took out Shawari, kind of let the path open for her. And I just think it's going to come down to turn of foot. We're probably looking looking at decent ground on Sunday. And there's one horse in here who's a miler, and for me that's Dance Sequence. And in my book, she should probably be favourite. So I think we're looking at 5-1 at the minute, which for me is very much a bet. So yeah, very strong selection. This 3 points, Dance Sequence.
Yep, generally available, and will certainly reverse the form of the Fay horse. Wind form played into that horse. Last time, I'm going to Chris Poole here because obviously I'm on each way. Ylang at 8s and each way Dance Sequence at 8s. Hopefully, they'll both make the frame for my anti-purse interest there. But I do share the concerns with the Ylang, and we'll come on to that later. Good start for the round, Jack. Tipping in one of the classics. John, coming to you next.
Now, I'm sure you'll all remember the 225 at Newmarket on the 29th of September last year.
Remember it like it was my 21st birthday, John.
Tumbleweeds. Wonderful.
You've got a memory like a fucking elephant.
Because this is the reason for the bet, this race, right? And this is key to the bet.
Evidence is key, yes.
Evidence is key, quite correctly. And this is tomorrow at HQ. And it's in the Jockey Club Stakes. And the 3-pointer is Castle Weir of Charlie Appleby's. And I'll tell you for why. Because this favourite has to be taken on Time Lock. I'll remind you of the race now. It was the Princess Royal, transferred from Ascot, of course, now at its new home of Newmarket. We had the Gold Trees winner running, Varian horse making the nutter fractions that went 5 furlong pace, and everybody sat out the back, got flattered to fuck.
You're right, 100%, yeah.
Time Lock went into that a solidish 102 horse. Not much wiggle room. I would say we'd seen just about everything she got. She got a peach off Ryan that day. Next thing, ratings 8 up to 112. Where the fuck's that come from? It shouldn't have. After that, she goes to Ascot at Filly's race, where everybody's astonished at Poptronic winning again, where Poptronic actually increased the margin over Time Lock from Haydock.
Yep.
Time Lock was only 5-1 that day. Poptronic was 22-1. Time Lock is a shit favourite in this race. Shit. And I'm going 3 points win on Castle Weir, where solid Voltiger form with a Ledger winner. And there is no dispute in his rating of 110.
And of course, Big Tower London that came out at Maidan and blew everyone away. John, we'll come on to this later, of course, in more detail, but I don't really need to go on. But 3-1 you've got, that's with Entertain. That is Lay Day Payday on Time Lock. Lay Day Payday. Stripe form. Stripe. Very confident choice, John. I like that very much. Castle Weir for John. This is turning out to be a banker lucky 15 round.
Right then, we're going to the 3 o'clock at Newmarket on Sunday, the 14th William Hill Heritage Handicap. Now, this time I'm going to go for the horse we really opposed last time. This appeared at Kempton over a trip that was far too short for it. Intended target for the season. I don't think it's being kept for anything. I think this is it. It's in Tinzo, Gosden and Holly Doyle. It was in the race behind Semhan. It's Semhan and Killybegs, I think it was last time. It was never really looked like 1 mile 3. Yeah. It never really like those two really sort of slipped the field, and he just went sort of third the last couple of furlongs, and we wasn't thrashed around, but he wasn't to catch those front two out there. I know it's Semhan, who's a bit of a standing dish here, doesn't want to reappear. Beggs doesn't want to take it on either. So I'm very sweet on this. But what I'm going to do, just in case the top one is think, I want 2.5 points win, point second in New London.
John doesn't like that. He put me off that so much last time. I vowed to never do it again.
No, right.
Doing split stake wankering, I felt like John disowned me.
This is second to it. You see, you sometimes got to put these in.
Nick, if you followed Nick for years on Twitter,
Zilzal 89.
Is it 89, Nick? Zilzal 89? Your Twitter handle. If you followed Nick on Twitter for years, you'll know that this is how he plays. And there's certain big races or whatever. He likes forecasts. I mean, infamously, remember last year, the Says reverse for Nick. So, and that basically won him the Naps table. And this is a shrewd fella. So I think sometimes these little bets over a season, you might be waiting a couple of seasons, but when you cop very worthwhile. But this one's a little more obvious than what Nick normally plays. But in Tinzer and New London, the revert the cover forecast for 0.5. 8-1, Nick, for you in Tinzer. Are you very happy with that?
Yep, lovely. That's
Yeah,
fine.
good
Yeah.
stuff. We'll obviously be covering that race later in the review. I'll finish the 3-point round off, and I knew that there'd be absolutely no chance of a klaxon because I'm going to a fillies listed race. I'm a glutton for punishment. I love these fillies listed races. I've always said it. There's no prices out, so for those of you that do follow me, and I've probably got a dwindling list at the moment, given my form this season. But if you do, I want a minimum of a bit of 4-1 for sport this. So, like, that's my price.
I thought you were going to say I want odds to a tenner.
Yeah. I'm not Northallerton feed. Star guest that runs in the for Appleby in the 110 at Newmarket. Now, what I find interesting with this is she was very impressive at the course that you love, John, the other one at Newmarket. I just think if that's her barrow, she's finished second, first, and first at HQ. Maybe she's travelling very far. I don't know, but she was very impressive the last twice. That's not the reason for the bet about the travelling, but it's just the way she's done it and the figure she clocked. Now, what's interesting with this listed race, it's really bad, Philly's listed race. The one that's giving weight away for the penalty is Funny Story. It's rated 102. And half of these have got rated like 93, 88, 78, 91, 95, 98, 96. They are crap.
Boilers.
Yeah, it's a terrible fillies race. One of the worst I've seen for the sort of money, etc. So this filly is rated officially 93. You could have probably put her up more than the 6 for that win at Newmarket because she absolutely gagged up. For me, it's all about breeding as well. The fact they've kept her in training, they can actually be asked. The mother was Usherette, trained by Andre Farb for Darley. She won the Dahlia and the Cambridge at the Royal Meeting.
Probably one.
Yeah, this filly could just suddenly take off because physically she's really good as well. She obviously suffered a setback, but that doesn't worry me with this team. They'll have her absolutely cherry ripe for this. I think there's nothing not to like in a very, very weak race. So I would be looking for 4-1, but it'll be best price scenario as always. And I will have to take what I'm given in terms of like the Naps table. But if you're following me, then I do want 4-1 for a bit of sport. But that finishes the round and the lucky round, hopefully for you lot. Hopefully we'll land all 3 pointers. That's the main aim of the game. And hopefully we can also score with some of the big priced earlier selections for smaller stakes as well. Hope you enjoyed that round. Now it's TV race time. Obviously 3 days for the Guineas meeting, starting on the Friday, which is expected, by the way, to ride, I would predict, quite quick, given that we've had a dry day at HQ today, quite warm. I don't think the watering cans can come on now, so I think day one will be on the quick side. The forecast for tomorrow was originally quite heavy showers. That's been downgraded to just a 35% chance of rain. Wind not playing much of a factor as the last meeting, the Craven meeting. So we might get a bit more fairer racing in terms of you're not so worried about biases, unless we get a rail bias, which you can sometimes get there. Might end up like red car, John. Right, 225 tomorrow is the Newmarket Stakes, a listed race. Endless Victory is the even money favourite. I'll start us off and say I think Endless Victory is a potential Ledger candidate for that team. That's where I see that horse going later in the season. I think he's a very smart prospect. What impresses me, John, and everyone else, is that he's done this. He's won his 2 races off incredibly slow fractions. And I think when you can do that and you know that you're an absolute out-and-out stayer, which is what he looks, I think that's an impressive thing to do because it's not easy for these staying horses to win slowly run affairs. I know it's no price. I'm not recommending it at evens or anything. I'm just saying that I think it's an impressive thing to do. So, John, thoughts on this?
Really, I'd agree with yourself, Lee. I think Endless Victory, he stands over a lot more ground than the other two that you'd probably fancy out the Newmarket race at the Craven meeting. He's not pulled together yet, and yet he's managed to conjure up enough pace to win. As he improved, I'm pretty certain he'll improve past the other two anyway.
Yeah, I think the boys in blue are thinking Ledger already. It could be sort of Bahrain trophy route, that kind of thing. Might be even, I don't know, it depends. They might even go Golden Stake.
The worry for me would be if the And the cards for the derby's a bit thin, and they might rush him. That would be my concern.
Yeah, he's not a Derby horse. I certainly don't think he's a Dante horse. It's just his future is 12 to 14, real high-class galloper. Jack, Nick, any views here?
I'd completely agree. Look, I think the boys in blue are on for a big weekend. It's not always what punters want to hear with the prices that we tend to get with them. But agree with both of you. I liked this one last time out. That's a race I really like. That 10 furlong maiden at the Craven Meeting had some good winners in the past. Obviously, Waipiro won it last year. New London the year before. I do like. I know John likes Whipcracker, and I thought he did run a bit of a stormer actually. I can't remember the name of the race, the 10 furlong race at the Craven Meeting, but I think he might just be pitched up. Fielden, there we go, John. Yeah, thank you. So, if you were playing this race, I really couldn't see it outside of those two. So, I'd probably be looking at a sort of Nick Davis forecast, if I'm honest.
Yep, because Nick.
No.
When does your 3-year-old tap turn on, Nick? Did you say it was Epsom?
When the 10 far.
Round about Epsom, I start backing the handicap. So.
Okay.
Right, the 3 o'clock then. More to Nick's taste.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I
Because
don't fancy here. I don't fancy Dark 30 or Thunderball. So I think they'll probably.
I agree.
They'll probably take each other on. Lethal Levi won't probably get this in there. I would like be frank. I'm just worried about a stable. If I had to have a bet, it would be English Oak, but I don't think I don't think the price is not enough for me there. There's a few in there that it'll be run at a decent old place there. I don't really know what to make of the favourite. It's got love. It could easily blow them away. It's got great form here. I'm not, A, it's the price, and B, what do you do about if it go? This can take a bit hold and lead as well. So you never know in these situations. It could be drawn very well though, and I can see it. I can see it surging clear up the stands rail. But 7-2 is not for me.
I can expand on your two that you didn't like. Dark 30 he had the front end on the wind form last time, and he's fully exposed on that. Thunderball, I'm absolutely incredibly surprised they've dropped it to 7. I have absolutely no idea what they're doing. This horse is quite stoutly bred, really. If you watch the Cambridgeshire last year...
Oh, yeah, up the centre, that looked like winning, didn't it?
He's coming back at them. He's like really running on strong, like late. He's really grabbing the ground over on the 1:01. He's never been a 7 furlong horse at this stage of its career. He's like idiot thinking, right, we're leading and we're getting caught over a mile, so let's drop it to 7. But they're idiots, as we know, so not for me. The favourite Noble Dynasty, I thought, ran a cracker in Maidan because I really did feel, even though it wasn't the strongest of Group 3s, the pace completely collapsed. I just felt that Applebee's weren't informed then. I mean, I got Jack moaning and stuff like that. Applebee's fucking rubbish. What's what they're doing? Vincero's finished. And so I was like listening to him and thinking, yeah, he's got a point here. So the Godolphin runners, that's why I like Jack Silver Lady on Sunday, because she managed to win when some of their runners were running below par. But Noble Dynasties, yeah, it's a bit of a stab, isn't it? 7-2, Nick.
Yeah.
No idea what to say. I'm a B. Frank fan, but for the pilot, and secondly, for the stable, which have yet to get going in 2024, would be another concern. Jack, your thoughts here?
No, I'd agree on the whole. I think English Oak would be the one that's interesting. I think she's a horse that might. What's the old the gender police there might get onto me.
They have them
exactly.
how.
Yeah. No, he's a horse I think that might well come to probably pattern class this year. Whether this race will particularly set up, as Nick said, the price is pretty prohibitive. But yeah, wouldn't be a betting race for me. But I'd be completely against Dark 30 for the same reasons you said. He's an easy lead merchant, and I don't think he'll get one here.
Jonas,
English Oak will probably win, but I'd chuck 2 alternatives in here. Carl Burke's been gagging to step Lethal Levi up in trip, and this could be interesting, just ridden handy rather than slightly out of his comfort zone on the front end, as he has been over 6 in various top handicaps last year. Plus, his last year was like his difficult second album season, as I call him.
I love that.
When the start on a fairly high mark, and you sort of think, well, he's gonna have a fucking shit. Yeah, it's gonna be a long year for the poor bastards that own this. And they've got that out of the way now. He's come down £8. he could be interesting if he can get into an ace rhythm and relax just off the front. The one that I think could be interesting as well is Obelix. Now with the Sprint Kings of Malton, this is a proper strong traveller, and I think it's really interesting. Dropped to 7. It ran over 10 at Newmarket. It came there absolutely swinging off a warm pace last year. It could do similar if there's a real burn up in this. This thing could come through on the bit, honestly. It's had a run as a pipe opener as well. I think it's really, really interesting. Drop to 7 as a big price as well.
Well, it's nice that you mentioned like 20s and 40s there as having shouts. You know, it certainly adds interest to the race. We move on to the 335. Boiling Point heads the market at 9-4. According to John's notes, last time looked underwhelming pre-race. He's not wintered especially well and has hardly grown. So, John, Boiling Point didn't take your eye in this.
No, you can fuck off.
You've 31% out at market there.
Hey.
What can we do?
I quite liked Indian Run at York.
Agreed.
And I think you can maybe excuse was it the Joe Hurst he turned out in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he hadn't run in the Joe Hurst, he'd probably be odds on for this.
Interesting. Like the sort of confidence there from John and Jack. You sharing John's opinion there?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I thought his Aiken win, whilst it wasn't the strongest Aiken, was impressive, and you can forgive a Dewhurst run. That's probably not his class. I think that conditions race that a horse I'm involved in ran very badly in, so I know it quite well. But I wasn't particularly taken with anything in there, so I'd be against top 2 in the market. So yeah, Indian Run for me would be of interest, and potentially the Dickie Hughes Queen of Zafine, who fair play, she's done, her winning on the all weather this winter, but was a decent second at Lingfield in the Spring Cup, and I think looks a decent filly in the making. So yeah, I'd certainly be against top of the market here for sure.
It's whether Queen of Zafine goes the right way. She started to tail flash. That's the sort of one concern a little bit. I'll just mention your hang gear of Kevin Ryan's. This horse was very immature last year. I did expect him to be gelded, actually, because I felt that he turned up sweating at York. It was all over the place.
Bit like us.
You know, you turn up like to a do and it's like, fucking hell, it's warm in here. Turn the aircon up, lads. And that was it, really. So hang gear has been living on his nerves a little bit. And I think there's a lot of ability there. Do I think he can win this? Probably not. But it's just worth a close eye on his demeanour if you're watching in the paddock before, just for future reference. Because obviously, we're not just betting for tomorrow and the weekend, we're betting for the summer. So let's see if he's just calmed down a little bit. Gear, he's an absolute live wire. He's got a lot of talent, but obviously can't fulfill it until he stops doing that. Nick, I presume it's a no?
It's a no. From the Berkshire jury, yeah.
Yes, that's what we like. Another no. Right, 4:10. We come on to Jockey Club Stakes. By the way, John has made a solid case in the best bets round with Castleway. I cannot agree with him more in terms of the likeliest winner, and I cannot believe it's not at the head of the market. King of Conquest is a bit of a cunt. Astro King might not stay.
That's interesting, but that's interesting because these I think the entries are very interesting. He's entered Cuba's entered it for the Hardwick as well. And I was looking back. I mean, Kingman's are still 31% over a staying trip. The Dam stayed further. So it wouldn't be surprised me if he actually gets it. Whether he's good enough is another thing. But
fair play. It obviously opens more doors for them if he does get it. You can see why they're trying it over the 12.
The Shirts one they think is a stayer by the entries. It's in the Ascot Gold Cup as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't.
They obviously think that's going to be a stayer.
Yeah, I can't
Time
fancy
isn't
that.
good enough. Norris King of Outburst and Outbox isn't good enough. So
Outbox will cut Dolly Doyle for 4 furlongs and that be that. We're all on Lengies. We're all like roaring at home. Roar! So Castleway, are we pretty unanimous on this?
Yeah,
We are.
I agree.
I like it when someone makes a really convincing case, and John did just that with Castleway. So that's where we are, folks, on day 1. Right, day 2 is Guineas Day, of course, and we fly the 1:45 Saturdays, the Heritage Handicap, the Cliff Horse, Summergand.
It'll be over bet. Yeah, it's an awful race.
It is.
The trouble is, though, he'll get what he wants here because me and Nichols will be rattling out the boxes on a bit, won't she? So
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
will play right into some of Jan's hands.
By the way, I love Mia Nichols in terms of like young rider, pops them out, gets them really running for it. I like jockeys that do that. You don't have to be all like brute strength. She just gets them rolling and running. Racing Post today, I don't think they're doing a service. Champion Apprentice.
Oh, Jesus.
If she's going to be Champion Apprentice, I'd pack up betting, I think. They
John,
stopped that.
You'd have to win 43
Well,
first.
she didn't get any rides outside of her old band, so I can't see
Well,
that.
she
Well,
gets.
John, have you given up on the tactical bandwagon?
No. I haven't.
Go on, John.
I'm just saying that another one will straighten him out, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with him at York.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've got little opinion here.
Mm.
It's not my sort of race, I'll be honest. I think Summergan will get a better setup than he did at Newmarket. He ran a belter off the pace with the tailwind. Now it's not going to be so favourable. I think he's got to run a big race and he's got to be thereabouts. But like Nick says, he's going to be well bet and well found in the market. Obviously, already market leader. Anything to add?
I thought jockey booking is interesting here. Ryan Moore's 50% on, 40% Mum's Tipple. Ossie Murphy retains the ride on Baldwin, who he had a couple in Baldwin and a couple in this. This was last, but it was drawn very, very wide at Kempton. I know it's been sort of nibbled in the market here, and it's some early season form. And of course, I mean, what do you do about Noble Style? That sometimes they miss out their 3-year-old season. It's I just classed this, even for me in a handicap, was
Second
too hard.
album, Nick.
I just classed it too hard.
For you.
Noble Style, second album, John. He got a bit cunty at it, a Noble Style, has he?
I think so.
Some of them do, and it's the second album.
Yeah, splits bands up, does second album.
It's
220.
Ross, I tell you.
It did, yeah. Old Matt and Luke. If I had looks like them.
One of them now, he just keeps popping up on GB News playing hell about everything.
Good one out of the two. Didn't he go to Vegas? Played for years in Vegas, didn't he? The best one.
Well, it would be the best one if he fucked off. That he automatically gets the paper, doesn't he?
Can't even name them, Luke and Matt Goss. Like one of them conundrums. I can't put a name to them, who they are. If he said, we like find the lady on Epsom Downs. We come to the Suffolk, which is the 220. Very
They
competitive
could walk
race.
past you in the sauna and you wouldn't know who they were, wouldn't you? Apart from the fact they've got the towels draped over their erection.
You'd have to call them Bros, wouldn't you? Mr. Bros. You call one Luke and you're bound to get it wrong. Anyway,
Exactly.
God, we touch on some the Suffolk then. Me and Nick have obviously tipped in this with Westerton and the Huey and Staywell. We'll stay quiet on this. John and Jack, I'd like to get your views on this. John?
So suddenly it's got like important status, this race. It used to be like a big trial for the what was the Bessborough, now it's the Joke of Edinburgh, isn't it? Ascot. Everybody used to prime their horses up for this over 9 years and then go to the Bessborough with a duck egg next to the name. I think that might still be the plan with Torito myself.
Yeah.
I think this could be a sighter, you know. I think this 9 might be the perfect trip for Theory of Everything. I thought he could run well. Sure, he was in good heart at the Craven Meeting on his first run for O'Meara. So
Would ground what are you about for Theory of Everything? Like Clifford ground?
I think he was okay.
Yeah. Okay. Jack?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of kind of question marks on a few in here. I love Liberty Lane as a horse. Big bet on him in the Lincoln, but as soon as they tried to make all into that headwind, it was game's gone. But no, again, he's one who wants cut in the ground, so I couldn't really have him here. Yeah, I'd agree with both of your cases. I think they were very fair. I think it's right for one to sort of take on top of the market here. Not sure Torito will be fully turned up. Theory of Everything, again, interesting, but at the price is probably not for me. The Kilts, Killybegs Warrior, to John's dismay, is somewhat interesting dropping back in trip here. You know exactly what it's going to do. I'm sure that will be one of Lang's back to lays on Saturday. It's got that written all over it. But no, I think he could make the frame up. But yeah, I'm very much hopeful that one of yours goes in for sure.
Good stuff. Right, we'll move on to the Palace Out. Lengy's already been on with Beautiful Diamond. Get the case totally in terms there's not a lot of pace. In fact, there's a lot of these that are stuffy types that love a settle. Mitt Barhy takes back, Kurdos takes back, Twilight Calls pulls like stink if you don't take back. And as we've already mentioned about the stable, they just haven't got going. Vadream would probably want softer ground. Am I right there, Nick? Maybe?
Yeah,
Vadream?
I just I put this down as I had 4 words. What a shit race! As Palace House Stakes go.
I think a tuned up Beautiful Diamond gives them the slip here.
Doesn't Steve Spirit makes the running, doesn't it?
He does.
Should set it up nicely for it.
Fucking hell, T Spirit ain't going to beat Beautiful Diamond.
Oh no,
no. And she got her fractions wrong in that race. It was just that the other cunts were just sat there bone idle.
It was a strange eat, that one. It was, for sure.
I think 3-year-old record in the race for the Trends boys is terrible, but I think this is a Trends buster. The only other 3-year-old you've got is 7 questions, and that will travel up like the wrath of God. But I'm convinced that horse is a bit cunty. It just never seems to find anything. So that might be one for your kind of short price lays if anyone's playing that way.
Yes, let's get some lasing in running, of course, for the old drone boys. Right, the 335, of course, is the centrepiece of the weekend. And this, as I mentioned at the start of the show, for me, is one of the better guineas. I'm not saying it's the best guineas, I'm saying it's one of the better guineas in modern times. The reason being is because there's quite a few in here that are coming in here, and you're expecting a lot more from them, the front end. Whereas in the past, we've had guineas where we've seen how good that is, that's what it is. But I do think the top end of the market, for example, City of Troy, obviously, Jesus, could have won the World Snooker. Got Rosalian, Annan says it's his best he's had. So, whether that's true, we don't know. Notable Speech is literally winning with any amount in hand in his races. Ghostwriter's unbeaten, and the form he's stacking up really strong for his wins. He could be argued as overpriced. Night Raider's unbeaten. Al Yanabi is only 3 lengths behind God on Dewey's form and will probably improve also for the mile. Who's going to lead me off on the guineas?
Does that Hannon? Will they try team tactics to get Hattam in front and put the brakes on?
Your issue with this race for me, so I'll tackle it. I think Rosalian and Notable Speech, those will be your 2 St James's Palace horses. I think you've got Henry Longfellow, who might well end up there. But your issue is they're sort of sit back and ride for a turn of foot last to first horses. Well, if the horse that you've got to pass is City of Troy, you've got no fucking chance. So that's kind of my opinion. It comes down to what price would he have to drift to for it to be a bet, and I'll pose that to you, esteemed judges.
The O'Brien snout has said this is doing ridiculous things. He hasn't stated what, and I don't know if he's maybe not allowed to. I don't know. He just said it's doing ridiculous things.
Turns up dressed as a woman.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
The problem is sometimes with Coolmore, you get to the day of the race, and you either see the lads pile in or you see them stay away. And we've seen big drifts in past, haven't we, John?
Oh, yeah.
Like with Coolmore on the day, it'd be like, do you remember Air Force Blue? That was one of them, weren't it?
Yeah. Still went off. What did it go off? 4 to 5, something like that.
I can't remember prices, but I remember it drifting because
one cold chat when everybody knew was going to have a heart attack.
Betting might be key. For what we hear, are we in primary slots? Maybe not. But City of Troy, on what he's achieved and what he's done on the clock and what everything he's done, cannot get beaten. It's that simple. If he's the same horse and turns up in the same mould and everything goes well, then
I heard he had a 9-darter at the weight.
I think for me, the vote of confidence is that he could have had any amount of pacemakers in here, and he's thought, I don't need any of those. Look, this horse is. He just seems so straightforward. He can make the run in. He can sit handy. It's not a problem. And I think we will see this will go off short on Saturday. Sorry, I'm pretty sure of that. The lads will be getting stuck in. I'm pretty confident.
The betting, that was the one thing that last year they got very, very wrong, didn't they? How did they got Augusta Rodin in the Derby so wrong, the lads? Do you remember that went drifted,
Well,
and we thought it's got no chance.
you couldn't have it off the back. I couldn't have it whatsoever. I backed John's Moral Dante winner that day, and I was spewing. So I think there's no concerns around this horse. I mean, he's ground versatile. He's straightforward. There's a few people saying justifies don't train on. I mean, what's the
bollocks.
crop size that we've seen?
Fucking these stats people.
Yeah.
What fucking idiots.
You'll see every podcast under the sun looking for a without market place or a fucking each way shout. Just say that the horse is going to fucking win and win it well and sit back and crack open a drink and enjoy yourself. That's my opinion.
It shows you how thick these stats people are, because if City Troy gets beat, they will fucking trumpet the fucking stat about Justify's not training on. And then in about 3 years' time, Justify are like Breeders' Cup fucking dirt winner at 5. They're just fucking morons. It's like sample size is fuck all, because obviously he's a new sire. So, Jesus Christ. One variable in a cog, and they're looking for something. They're looking for problems.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. They're just looking for something that isn't there. Because why? Because they don't want to turn up on a podcast or turn up and write an article and say, because then they'll feel like Blogger. Blogger's made them feel like this. Blogger makes everyone feel like that, where you can't tip a fav.
Nothing wrong with a fab if it's a good one.
Absolutely. Leg always says to me, you love a fav. So there we go. City of Troy wins the Guineas. Racing needs it as well. Racing does actually need another champion like Frankel. We want City of Troy to turn up at Newmarket on Saturday, win by 3.5, drawing away, with everyone like jumping up and down and posting slips on Twitter from last year. No, we don't want that. But we want something where we can go into a derby.
I'll counter it.
Yeah, you can do it, John, because I know you're on. You were on after debut at the Cutter. So there we go. This is what it's all about. And I want City of Troy to be the next Frankel. I want this one to be the super horse. Racing does need it, flat racing especially. We had some quiet times on the flat in terms of absolute quality champions.
We need a 3-year-old like with no holes in it, don't we, really? I mean, we had August Rodan last year, but I mean, he was a bit like Benny from Crossroads, wasn't he?
Down. That's
him.
Down. Miss Diane.
Yeah, you weren't quite sure what you were getting with him. Was it either the Broke Strength Benny that was playing your yard out, or Benny that probably interfere with Miss Diane? Yeah.
Nick used to watch that 100%. So we've done the Saturday, and we hope City Traders the business. On to Guineas Sunday. It's more difficult to preview this card because of runners and stuff, so we'll skim through it quickly. Anything that any of you guys saw on Sunday, like anti-purse maybe, that'll definitely run for punters, because it's no good us talking about runners and then they don't run.
I think there's a nice filly running in the Pretty Polly.
Oh, go on, John. I've got one in here, so I'm hoping it's the same as you.
It's unlikely. I don't think you'll be.
I think I know this one. Is it our favourite trainer?
It is. It's the Dave Simcock Lunar Eclipse. Particularly well to win Andevio last year. He left her in the Guineas till the 48-hour declaration stage. I think this is a nice horse, and the fact that Calpana is in the race off that handicap win, I think that's a big help with the price. I think 8-1's very reasonable about this.
That's interesting. So that's for Sunday. Nick, anything for you on Sunday that takes
I've got not really. I've got one in the my 3-pointer in the handicap.
Sure, yeah.
The other one's a 3-year-old handicap, and the rest is 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. Oh, blimey!
No. Fillies as well. Lots of fillies on Sunday. Jack, anything for you on Sunday?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had my couple of bets there, so I hope they run for a start. But outside of that, I liked one in the Pretty Polly, and that's the Rafe and Ralph Merry Bella. I was quite taken with the way this one won at debut on the July course. I thought that would make up into a lovely 3-year-old. Although I'm not a big stable form man, but I'm a little bit concerned about the Rafe and Ralph team. Not had a winner for 25
Yeah,
days.
quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. So, I mean, it might be a bet at double figures, but I'll probably wait and see. But yeah, I mean, I'm really confident on these two on Sunday. I know I'm saying that at the wrong time now. They'll both get stuffed, but it'll be a double for me. The Silver Lady dance sequence. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Dabble babble. Maybe Rafe and Ralph have fell out, and that's why they're struggling
That
for
might
form.
be it.
The 1,000 guineas. Then let's finish with a good preview. I've pulled the anti-purse bets, dance sequence and Ylang. I agree with Jack totally about dance sequence. I think this will improve plenty. It's going to have to, but it will do. Ylang. I am concerned if Newmarket on Sunday turns up pretty quick, especially because John said on the 13th of October, this is a nice Oaks candidate. We'll handle Epsom.
Do you know what it is for me? I think look at Aidan and the way he campaigns his Oaks horses. He often runs one in here, and he sometimes does it with Derby candidates in the Guineas. He uses the Guineas as a Derby / Oaks trial, and for me, that, I mean, it's just little things like she's been very weak on the exchange for a lot of time, to the point where I thought she might not even be a runner. If they were seriously getting behind her, she should be favourite, really, in my opinion. But I think Aidan would be more than happy with her staying on second or third here, to be honest.
That late staying on, grabbing the ground up the hill kind of thing, and everyone's then saying Ylang is the favourite for the Oaks. That's my take as well. Anything at prices like that could potentially sort of take a hand. Are we see anything, chaps? John, what?
Lunar eclipse at 66-1 if Simcock has a brain start.
You might click the wrong button, John, and declare her for that.
Yeah.
John, it's not fucking Doncaster. Fucking come on.
No, well, you see, this is the thing, you know. I mean, she only sat last in the 10 runner race last time, you know. And the 20 going to run here, so if she sticks 10th again, she's going to be midfield. So it'll be all right.
The best trainer in the UK today is Dave Simcock, and that's a fact. Yeah. Any trainer that's clicking along at 18%, 80% of his horses out the back of the telly for first 3 furlongs is a man that literally, needs close attention. Dave Simcock, you're the best.
Needs a fucking intervention.
Simply the best.
Dave Simcock could be Aidan O'Brien. You just tell him what to do. You say, Dave, don't drop this one out round here. No. Sit second or third. The lad will be on 30%. Anyway.
Would they?
Nick, have you views on the Phillies Classic?
No. I've got a few handicappers that might, but I'll post anything up if I.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. All right, and I'd like to see Jeremiah go at Hamilton on Sunday.
Hey, what?
I'd like to see Jeremiah to go to Hamilton on Sunday rather than the 2 other ones it's entered for.
Right.
Do you realise last year that was the last horse to run in both legs of the Autumn Double? It ran in the Cess, the Cabes and the Cess.
You've mentioned Hamilton. At least John had mentioned Sligo yet. John, what was your view on the Phillies Classic?
I think Fallen Angel will be quite hard to beat. To be honest, I think she ticks a lot of boxes. She got good form at 7 last year. She's more or less at the sort of rating that says she's going to be bang there in the Guineas. Fancy horses that have to improve a little bit to beat her, and it's not to say she wants to improve for a winter under her belt. I think it's a big chance for Calvert to hit the big term.
Yeah, you've sank my battleship, and you don't want me to draw, do you? You fucker. Right.
I'm a bit pissed off. I'm not drawing thanks to Carla's way going missing in the Bermuda Triangle.
Is she still alive? I've got a Crisford man. I can find out if she's still alive, but I don't know what's going on.
I think she's gone down with that Malaysian Airlines MH.
I think she went over Leonardo DiCaprio in the Titanic, mate.
Any other business, chaps? Have we got anything to say to our wonderful listeners anything to back for the weekend, maybe elsewhere?
Avoid Goodwood like the plague.
Yes, shithole. Nick Davis, fillies and mares race. Surely you've got one.
Oh yeah, loads of them. I'll each way suit with Yankee. As I said, I like to see Jeremiah at Hamilton. There's a couple of, but the trouble is you don't know. We'll find out how heavy Goodwood is on tomorrow, won't we?
Yeah,
It's
we'll
going to
see
be
how
heavy
slow
stopped in place.
slow
Yeah.
the ground is.
Just want to chuck in for Sunday, 205 Hamilton, Fox Journey. It's open to improvement around this sort of trip this year, I would say. Still got his knackers on. That would suggest that the Baron still thinks he's developing physically, which means there should be some improvement to come.
Good stuff.
Right.
That's been a great show to do, chap. Hope you enjoyed it. And of course, we'll be back on Sunday with our special guest. That's me, John, Chris, and a special guest. That's all from us on the Guineas weekend. Let's hope we're lucky.
Simcoe.
Bye for now.